Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified that Queer News Tonight's YouTube channel is the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. In 2025, our queer stories have reached 11 million streaming views, and Queer News Tonight has been the best-watched LGBTQ news and lifestyle show in the world this year.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBT community. There's no other news program in the LGBT world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Thursday, September 11th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots magazine, Happening Out, is one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, in the same model as PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
We support the 11 pillars in our LGBT community and want to inform and educate on the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture.
Our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience. Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ stories. We present South Florida's major LGBT events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, Pride Fete, our nonprofit 501c3 magazine, events, television news, and talk and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options magazine, media director for the National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Alex, Bear Pirates will take over Wilton Drive on September 19th. Tell me what's happening.
Sure thing, Bobby. The Bears of South Florida will host the National Talk Like a Pirate Day pub crawl on Friday, September 19th, bringing a sea of swashbuckling fun to Wilton Drive. Starting at 5:30 p.m., participants will dress in their best pirate gear and set sail on a 3-stop pub adventure, spending about 45 minutes at each location. The $5 ticket will include snacks at the first bar and help organizers alert venues of the incoming Bear Pirate crew. The event will invite attendees to unleash their inner pirate, flaunt Bear pride, and flood the drive with laughter and playful swagger. Tickets must be purchased by Tuesday, September 16th at 5 p.m. The Bears of South Florida provide a safe and welcoming space for the Bear community to socialize and engage in fundraising activities. More details about the pub crawl and tickets are available at bosfl.org. And who doesn't love National Talk Like a Pirate Day? Like when I was a young person, that was everything every college kid thought was the greatest thing ever. And I'm glad the Bears of South Florida are doing it. If only we had any former presidents of the South Florida Bears here that knew anything about it.
So we started, it's the National Talk, Pirate Day, and then the Bears decided to do this, and it just become like a tradition, like one of our campy traditions that we do. And it's fun to go into a bar when a bunch of guys dressed like pirates walk into and the visitors in the bar drinking. All of a sudden, look around, they got like 30 bears walking in dressed like pirates. I mean, who doesn't love pirates and who doesn't love bears? So
they're confused. Like, we're not that far from the Caribbean.
I love bears. I absolutely love bears. Yeah. I mean,
me too.
So, which 3 bars are we going to be hitting up?
Usually, it's the Eagle, the pub, and I don't remember the third bar, so excuse me.
Okay.
Appropriate venues for swashbuckling
yes.
fun.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But it's great just to see everybody, and everybody's having fun, and
I don't
and the bears are,
I love it.
I don't have pirate gear, but I was definitely going to
And I highly doubt that this will be the first time there's been some hooks in the eagle.
Oh! And butt pirates. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the National Talk Like a Pirate Day pub crawl on September 19th. Let's welcome Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade, float design, production, and casting. He is a board member of the West Side Association. Larry, Wilton Manors will celebrate National Night Out at Hagen Park on October 7th. Tell me, what's happening out?
Sure, Bobby. The city of Wilton Manors will host its annual National Night Out on Tuesday, October 7th at Hagen Park from 6 to 8 p.m. This nationwide event will bring neighbors and law enforcement together to strengthen community ties and foster a spirit of partnership. Residents will have the opportunity to meet Wilton Manors Police Department officers and professional staff in a welcoming, family-friendly setting. The evening will highlight the importance of working together to keep our island city safe, while also encouraging trust, communication, and collaboration between police and community members. National Night Out will feature interactive activities designed to engage neighbors of all ages, providing a positive space for connection and conversation. More details will be available at wiltonmanors.gov. While having attended these before as a board member of West Side Association, you find that we have 4 neighborhood groups and they have tables there. You also have several other civic organizations. So it's working within the community, maintaining trust and a relationship, that there's an approachable police force, which I think we're fortunate to have, maybe in comparison to some other cities in our country. So I think it's a wonderful evening. There's often complimentary food. I know last year they had some really exciting things. They also did a partnership a little bit with Fort Lauderdale. So I don't want to spoil anything they may do this year, but it's certainly worth checking out, and it's right at Town Hall.
I think it's a good community building event.
Absolutely.
You know, and you want to get to know your cops. I mean, growing up when we were younger, cops used to walk the beats. You got to know the officers in the community. So if you ever needed one, you would know who it is, and it helps build a relationship.
I mean, that's true. It's actually better if we see police officers more often in a casual setting than just show up when there's an emergency or when there's an event. The thing, especially right now with tension between cops and civilians at all-time high, no, I'm not blaming the local police department for that. That's more a general law enforcement issue, especially given this current administration's directives. But yeah.
I'd like to add to that, our police department's very approachable. I mean, in the many years I've been down here in Florida, this is the first time in my whole life as an adult, knowing the chief of police and assistant chief of police on a first name basis, knowing the officers, and not really, certainly I'm involved in civic affairs, but that they're very approachable and always available. And, even I partnered in our neighborhood for an informal crime watch with my neighbors, and they were very helpful in instituting that as well.
That's good to hear.
Yes.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Wilton Manors National Night Out at Hagen Park on October 7th. Let's welcome anchor Will Haas. Will is a bi-coastal real estate professional and is the past president of Florida's most popular gay social club, the Bears of South Florida. He also serves as a board member of Naples Pride and an advisory board member of Freedom Waters. Well, Rainbow Kickers expands with new season of fun and community. Tell me what's happening out.
Rainbow Kickers will open its 4th season this fall, bringing even more excitement to Southwest Florida's LGBTQ+ community. The organization, known for fostering safe and fun connections, will expand from 6 to 8 teams this year. Kickball games will take place at Fleischman Park in Naples every Sunday at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., followed by a celebratory brunch. In addition, to Rainbow Kickers will host bowling on Thursday nights at 6:30 p.m. at Headpins in Naples from September 25th through November 13th. Cornhole on Tuesday nights at 6:30 at Bonook Brewery on Immokalee Road from September 16th through November 3rd. With over 500 members already on our mailing list, Rainbow Kickers will continue to offer one of the best ways for the LGBT community and allies to meet as friends in the Naples area, More details are available at rainbowkickers.com. So this is our 4th season doing this, and it's so much fun. It's more about the social events than really competing. And we have people that are younger, people that are older, and it's a community building. So we don't really have bars or social events in our community. So this is one way to meet people. And we bowled in the summer, and that was a blast. And people come and watch. A lot of people will just come hang out, and then they go and have brunch afterwards, and it's a lot of fun.
That's great to hear that that's going on in Naples.
Yeah.
Sports is one of those things that I thought it was unexpected to be a connector for LGBTQ people and their allies. Like, I actually show up for our local league, Rainbow Sports League games, and, that's a lot of fun.
No, and I was looking at all the beautiful images of so many young, attractive gentlemen that apparently go to your event.
I know, those pink shorts. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a great way just to, share community and have a fun time.
Fantastic. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Rainbow Kickers this fall.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Bobby Hune. A world traveler and versatile in global affairs, Bobby provides an international perspective on current events. A PhD in conflict resolution, Bobby is a certified civil and family mediator and the founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Bobby, the Mackenzie Project is to host Breathing While Black and Trans launch party on September 20th. Tell me, what's happening out?
The Mackenzie Project will host the launch of Breathing While Black and Trans, a groundbreaking 4-part docuseries on Saturday, September 20th from 4 to 10 p.m. at the Overtown Performing Arts Center in Miami. The event will celebrate and amplify the voices of Black transgender individuals in South Florida, highlighting powerful stories of survival, resilience, and healing. The docuseries will shed light on lived experiences such as navigating homelessness and survival sex work in Miami. Guests will step onto the red carpet at 6 p.m., followed by a cocktail hour at 7 p.m. The premiere screening of the first episode will take place at 8 p.m. Attendees are encouraged to dress to impress in shades of purple and to share the experience by inviting friends. The Mackenzie Project stands as a pioneering Black trans-led organization in South Florida. For more information about the event, visit themackenzieproject.org. We have mentioned this event a couple of times, and it's always a worthwhile project, especially given that Black trans women, especially Black trans people of all genders, are under terrifying attack by not just society as a whole, but being honed in and scapegoated by the current administration, as we'll talk about it later. And so this is a meaningful event, and I'm glad that it's also taking place in Overtown, which is traditionally a Black-dominated neighborhood in Miami area, which has been terribly overlooked until recently, because developers have nowhere else to build. But so I think that this is a worthwhile event to attend.
No, go ahead.
All right. Well, I mean, I was going to also say to viewers, I know some viewers have heard us talk about this, but like, it's so worth us continuing to talk about it. Like, people should know about it. People should be going to it. It's in Miami. Like, we don't lift up the Black and trans community enough as a queer community. Like, we have to make sure that they get the spotlight to shine. And I just think this is amazing that we're doing it.
Yeah.
It really empowers people to tell their stories, a documentary. And, government's been nailing the trans people down and, stepping on them, walking over them. And this is one way for them to tell the story. And this is one way for our community to support them. And I think it's important.
It's important for all of us in the alphabet, no matter how we identify, to, what's been said, to support our community, even if it's not a group that we immediately fall into within the alphabet, that we support it. I think it's educational. And having started my first position in Florida after I moved here 6 years ago, it's great to see Overtown having an event like this, as you mentioned, Bobby. So we need to be strong and unified and support all of our brothers and sisters and allies.
Yep, fantastic. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Breathing While Black and Trans launch party on September 20th. Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Bobby Hune, and let's queer up drag culture. Hotspots shine spotlight on drag rebels Violet, Chachki, and Gottmik in this new issue on Stands Today. Our Hotspots happening out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine Hotspots is back with a feature on two of the drag's boldest rule breakers. Violet Chachki, and Gottmik. The RuPaul's Drag Race icons and co-hosts of the No Gorge podcast have teamed up for their debut music collaboration, a high-energy single called TKO. Equal parts glam, grit, and campy chaos, the track transforms their sibling-like clashes into pure spectacle. They're taking it on the road with the Knockout Tour, their first co-headlining North American tour. The duo talks to Chris Azzopardi of Hotspots magazine. They said TKO is about more than music. It's about queer power and visibility in a time when drag and trans people remain under attack. Gottmik shared, quote, "I feel like when I wake up, there's a new bill. There's a new thing that is telling me that I am not the person that I know that I am. But I know me. I'm not going anywhere," end quote. Violet also pointed to the importance of taking up space, saying, quote, "We are intimidating, strong, queer people, and we are not going anywhere," end quote. Every city in the Knockout Tour will feature local queer talents, bringing protest, pageants, and community together under one roof. This story and many more are included in your free copy of the new issue of Hotspots magazine on stands from today, September 11th. And, well, first of all, good for them. And second of all, we really, we have talked about it ad nauseam about Pride has its roots in protest. We need to go back there again. It's not just a festival, not pageantry, not tiny little twings and little briefs, on a float. We need to actually express our power of protest now, because we are, and Gottmik is right, every time I wake up, there's something new, at a bathroom bill, or, don't say gay, or burning books, because, apparently free speech, it won't be free unless it includes things that they only they like.
I hear, but one of the things that makes a free society still free is to not always think about politics. So if I could go back to something, it would be that cover. Oh my goodness, what a hot man on that cover of the Hotspots this week. Bravo, gentlemen.
Yeah, I need to, and also, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to just say that we've talked about this on the show, I think, a few times where, as a community, we need to empower, and I think our entertainers are one of our greatest strengths. People in the arts, whether you're entertaining or you're any type of artistry, designing, and the fact that if you can fill up a stadium or a venue, people are going to take notice. And that's strength in bringing revenue into the community, economics, and more power to them.
But they're also bringing local talent into their shows too. And
Absolutely.
I think that's important. That's what makes it fun. And, sometimes we just need to laugh once in a while. And this may, take us away from our daily drama.
Absolutely.
I mean, in a time when this is happening, we are lucky here in South Florida where we have the whole, Wilton Manors scene that's available to us. But we forget, I sometimes forget that not everyone behaves like Wilton Manors or West Village or, or San Francisco. We need...
And not every town has 7 gay bars all next to each other.
I counted, it's now 20. Yeah, not everyone is lucky like us, so, some queer exposure in other towns is definitely necessary.
Now, let's dive deep into this big story for today. I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up politics. Far-right commentator Charlie Kirk killed in Utah campus shooting. Charlie Kirk, the far-right activist known for his outspoken anti-LGBTQ+ views, was shot and killed on Wednesday during a campus event at Utah Valley University in Orem. He was 31. Authorities say the shooting happened while Kirk was on stage for his American Comeback Tour. A graphic video from the event captured the moment a single shot rang out. Kirk flinched and appeared to be struck in the neck before collapsing. The Utah Department of Public Safety said the shot is believed to have been fired from the roof of the Losey Center, a building that houses academic advising, tutoring, and other student support services. DPS Commissioner Bo Mason said only one shot was fired and Kirk was the sole victim. Kirk first rose to prominence in his early 20s, founding Turning Point USA, becoming a central figure in the American rights youth movement. He built close ties with President Donald Trump and turned Turning Point into a media and organizing powerhouse. But Kirk also built his reputation on inflammatory rhetoric, targeting LGBTQ plus communities. He spread disinformation about transgender people, gender-affirming care, and even claimed in 2022 that, quote, transgender people were to blame for inflation, end quote. He also drew outrage when he said that January 6th rioters would have faced lighter punishments if they had stripped naked and filmed themselves having gay sex. Kirk is also famously associated with anti-gay marriage comments. The FBI's Salt Lake City field office said it has devoted, quote, full resources, end quote, to the investigation and has launched a public tip line. For now, officials stress the campus is secure, but the investigation into who killed Charlie Kirk and why remain ongoing. Queer News Tonight continues to report a significant increase in political violence in America and firmly support that political differences of opinion should be accepted and tolerated. Violence is never a good choice in our society. You know, I've been thinking for a while when I first heard it happen, what to talk about and how to look at it. And like a lot of people, want to talk about what is political violence. And the first thing I see everyone say is like, oh, political violence has no place in our society. And I'll be honest, that's an easy cop-out about what is happening to our society. Because political violence, especially when you're not talking about the difference between something like the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, that's political violence. But there was a whole mechanism and a movement of people for it. What we're seeing now is not so much a building up of trying to create something or fight back against an evil. We're seeing a collapse of a society's norms. And we're seeing this at the same time that, we just saw it happen in Nepal, where they're out in the streets. They've had to overthrow their government right now. And when people ask, what do you want to, what should we make sense of all this? And I would say, my final thought on this is just, Charlie Kirk is associated with a regime that's in power today that has shown again and again it does not value human life, it does not respect the rule of law. And if you are going to lead a country like that, how can you expect your population, your civilian, your populace, to respect the rule of law or human life?
Exactly. And I just want to point out that, while right now Trump and many other Republicans in the House and Senate were screaming that we don't pay enough, their opponents do not pay enough respect for Charlie Kirk. Let us remind them that in June, when Minnesota state Senate leader was assassinated in her own home, along with her husband and her dog, that Trump has decided not to drop his flag to half-mast, and most on the right-wing circuit were celebrating. Now, I'm not going to celebrate anyone's death. I'm not that craven. But I do want to point out that Charlie Kirk insists that he is a quote-unquote free speech warrior and want to open to hear the other side. And yet, these are some of the quotes that I can pull from his long time on the air. In January 2024, on his own show, he said, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified, end quote. On gender, he said, quote, the answer is yes, the baby will be delivered. When someone asked him if his own daughter was assaulted and result in pregnancy at 10 years old, whether he will force his own daughter to give birth. And then he also said, quote, we need to have a Nuremberg-style trial for every gender-affirming clinic doctor. We need it immediately, end quote. So he has a long time blaming everyone in the society who is not white, cisgender, Christian nationalist, male like him, that apparently everyone else caused all the problems in the world, but not them.
And, my condolences to his family. You don't want to see anyone killed. However, the Turning Point organization has a history of mimicking and repeating history, the brown shirts in Nazi Germany, going out and organizing students to be hateful. There are allegations that they often treated minority members who wanted to join Turning Point and really treated them poorly. And often the members, there was infighting within, and they turned against, minority members. Mm-hmm. One of the ironic things that took place was a question came from the an audience member right before he was shot, seconds before he was shot. and they were talking about gun violence. And the person from the audience, who has, I believe, yet to be identified, asked, "Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass murderers over the last 10 years? And Mr. Kirk responded, quote, "Too many," which resulted in cheers from the crowd. After the individual said there had been 5. They then asked the conservative political activist how many mass shootings there had been in the U.S. in the past decade. Uttering his last words, Mr. Kirk asked, quote, "Counting or not counting gang violence," end quote, before the sniper's bullet took him. So certainly we don't wish death on anyone. However, it's ironic he was talking about gun violence when he met his demise.
And if we're going to go with gun violence, I have another quote. And he said it in 2023, quote, "I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. This is a prudent deal. It is rational." I'm going to guess that when he said it, he didn't expect the sacrifice on the altar is going to be him.
But, I would have, this falls right at 9/11. So people's emotions are high right at this point. I would have liked to have turned the TV on and see the president make a very heartful speech about 9/11 and people versus accusing the Democrats for being, it's their fault and everything else. I would have liked to pull the country together versus pulling it apart. I don't, that's what I would have liked to see.
And this is one of the worst things about this is like, Charlie Kirk does not deserve this much attention. Let's just be perfectly there was an active shooter situation at the exact same time. Like, we don't wish death on people, but like, this is America. Shootings happen all the time. He should not be given this additional attention, quite frankly.
And not to take away from his death and how horrible it is, but he was an activist. Bobby brought up that, Congresswoman from the Midwest and her husband and dog were killed, and there was no response
from the other side.
The thing that should really scare us all is that the response tends to be, we want it to be okay for us to do that, but not for you to do it to us. The fact that Trump, his Governor Greg Abbott pardoned Daniel Perry, who killed a Black Lives Matter activist. Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty after killing 2 people. And then this president who's talking about how he just doesn't think this is appropriate, he pardoned an enormous amount of people for taking part in the January 6th insurrection. When you collapse, when the rule of law completely collapses as it has under Trump, I just don't know where we go from here.
And there were people, going after Pence. I mean, how horrific. And you wonder what would have happened if they had caught up.
They were going after Pence because he wasn't doing what Trump wanted him to do.
And also, and let's bring it to Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania was under attack. They literally tried to burn his house to govern the mansions down.
Yes.
And when Paul Pelosi, the husband of Nancy Pelosi, was attacked, the right wing has all the jokes. I mean, Donald Trump Jr. even have a tweet saying, posing in his with a pair of underwear and a hammer, and say that this is going to be his Halloween costume.
And this isn't new. Almost every group I've worked for has dealt with political violence in the last 15 years.
To make him a martyr, and then you look at, them, the right wing, and especially here in Florida, where they're erasing our rainbow crosswalks. How dare they erase the rainbow crosswalks honoring the lives of the 49 people who lost their lives, and erasing that like it's just so much of nothing, and they're making this gentleman into a martyr.
But rainbow crosswalks aren't killing anybody. Guns are. So, they're totally avoiding any type of subject.
That's true, but once you start deciding some lives matter and some lives don't, it's a dark place that you never really see a victory from.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up entertainment. Is Tyler Perry gay? Here's the latest from accuser Derek Dixon. The sexual harassment and assault allegations against Tyler Perry are reaching new intensity. Actor Derek Dixon, who starred as Dale in all 5 seasons of BET's The Oval, has now broken his silence with his first televised interview since filing a $260 million lawsuit against the Medea creator. Dixon, an out gay actor, told ABC News Live that his relationship with Perry began in 2019 when the two first met at the opening of Tyler Perry Studios. Dixon recalled he said to me, Are you an actor? And I said, well, not right now. I was or working on it, but not right now. And he said, quote, yeah, you are. We need to talk. You should give me your number, end quote. From there, Dixon alleged that friendly exchanges escalated into unwanted text messages, physical contact, and a night in Perry's guest house where he claims Perry climbed into his bed and touched him inappropriately. He also described a 2021 incident where Perry allegedly pulled down his underwear and grabbed him against his will. When Dixon said, quote, I don't want this, Tyler insisted, saying, quote, unless someone's been through something where they have their control over their bodies taken away, you don't really understand, end quote. Perry's legal team has denied the claims, framing the lawsuit as an attempted shakedown. In a statement to ABC News, Perry's lawyer wrote, quote, this is an individual who got close to Tyler Perry for what now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam. But Tyler will not be shaken down, and we are confident that these fabricated claims of harassment will fail, end quote. Tyler Perry has not publicly stated that he is gay, and has previously dismissed gay rumors as stemming from his portrayal of the character Medea. Perry has maintained his privacy regarding his sexuality, with some speculating his primary audience in the Black church community influences this choice. He has supported LGBTQ representation in media, but has not addressed the rumors directly. For Dixon, the $260 million lawsuit is not just about damages. It's about how do you stop a billionaire who won't stop themselves from doing this. Perry himself has yet to personally comment on the circumstances of the lawsuit. Well, in researching the story before we came to air tonight, apparently there have been several interactions between Dixon and Tyler Perry over the years. And I know sometimes people can't professionally avoid them, but with my human resources background, I would say it's sort of going back for more. Now, I'm not making a judgment here, but I'm saying if you're doing business or interacting with someone and that continues, you may want to steer clear of the circumstances where you may be put in that position, or at least not be left alone with that individual.
Like staying at his guest house,
But on the other hand, that's, all the respect, Larry, but that veers close to the Weinstein excuse. If that woman comes back, Weinstein's legal defense basically say, if this actress come back again and again and again, just to,
I'm not condoning.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So, that becomes the male on male equivalent of like, why did you go back? Because Tyler Perry is a powerful guy in show business. And if you are that particular brand of drama or the actor that, you need to get work, and it's just like Weinstein. That sort of thing kind of become inevitable.
Well taken on that then.
And it's like, it is hard for survivors to be believed. I was sexually assaulted in college, and it was part of a gay fraternity with another pledge, got me drunk and did things that I did not want him to do. But like, it was very hard to get people to believe me. It wasn't until he did it to someone else, and that person also came forward, that they finally started taking it more seriously. And so I tend to be on the side of like, I like to believe survivors unless there's a compelling reason not to. I do think if Perry did do this, it's highly likely someone else has been the victim of Perry, and I hope that they would step forward.
We have talked about the Black church rapper DC Talk, the guy who was outed by another person who noted that he actually pursues men behind the scenes, despite the fact that he is a gospel singer. There is kind of this taboo, I guess, in some circles where like coming out is not acceptable. I understand that, but that doesn't mean that it gives you free rein to terrorize your staff.
I'm not going to claim to be an expert of the Black community or the Black church community, but I get very uncomfortable with this talk of like, Black people or Black churches are allegedly very homophobic. I'm like, I'm sorry. The first governor in this country that I know that supported gay marriage was a Black man. The first president in this country to support gay marriage was a Black man. I've only met Black activists that have wanted to help on gay rights. I've never seen like this idea of like that this would be the excuse for Perry or for these other people. I don't have enough evidence to really go with that.
But sexual harassment shouldn't happen at all. And we don't know if this is true or not, so it's hard to say who's right, who's wrong, because we're not in that situation. And it's the two of them that are in that situation. Hopefully that didn't happen, and if it did, I feel sorry for this gentleman Dixon, because you are right. Tyler Perry's powerful, and he's an actor, unemployed actor, so he did what he had to do, maybe. So I'm not really sure. So it's kind of hard to.
I think we should all withhold judgment until more information develops.
That's a good point as well.
Or at least when the disposition comes out.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm William Haas, and let's queer up politics. Protesters confront Trump at D.C. Steakhouse, call him quote-unquote Hitler of our time. President Donald Trump's attempt to showcase Washington, D.C. as quote-unquote crime-free turned chaotic when activists directly confronted him during his first dinner out in the city in nearly a decade. Trump, 79, made a short 3-minute motorcade trip from the White House to Joe's Seafood, Prime Steak, and Stone Crab, flanked by Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Trump proudly declared, quote, "We are standing right in the middle of D.C., which was a very unsafe place, and now it's got virtually no crime. We call it crime-free," end quote. But inside the restaurant, protesters from a feminist active group, Code Pink, interrupted his meal.
Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time! Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time! Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time! What do you want your legacy to be? Let's go. Let's go. What do you want your legacy to be? Time to go. Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler!
Time to go.
And he was welcomed here. He's terrorizing communities in
Let's go.
DC.
Time to go.
He's terrorizing communities
Time to
all
go.
over the world.
Time to go.
From Puerto Rico.
Let's go.
Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time! He is not welcome to DC!
One activist later said in video, quote unquote, "He looked at us right in the eyes and we stood our ground. We're not afraid of Trump. He's afraid of us," end quote. The dramatic confrontation capped a week in which Trump defended his lack of local dining with reporters, vowing to prove critics wrong. Instead, his outing drew national headlines for the protest. Meanwhile, Trump's claims about, quote, a crime-free capital doesn't match the data. D.C. police report violent crimes are down 27% this year, but at least 6 homicides have occurred since Trump's federal takeover began in August. Grand jurors have also rejected several cases against protesters, including Sean Dunn, a gay former Justice Department worker, accused of tossing a Subway sandwich at a federal officer. Trump's dinner ended steak, seafood, and dessert, but his efforts to control the narrative ended a public reminder that many in the Capitol still see him as unwelcomed. I guess you can have your steak and eat it too. You know?
Well, I mean, he used to have a place where he can go, his own hotel in Washington, D.C., the old post office building, where he allegedly has a routine down to a science, you know. And also the poor chef who need to make a steak well done. I can't even imagine eating like that, but whatever. The point is, D.C. is as safe as it's ever going to be. National Guard or not no National Guard. This is a power grab. He wants a little capital of his own, hoist his own banners, show his face. It's become a little Pyongyang with, his portraits all over the place.
I mean, having armed National Guard in the city makes it less safe. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Back in the day when they would put the National Guard on college campuses, what happened? They shot students. That sort of turmoil, it's not acceptable. What Trump's done to the district is absolutely appalling. Mayor Bowser's capitulation is even worse. She should be probably removed from office, quite frankly. You can actually recall people in D.C. I hope that happens to her. Code Pink is just an amazing group. They have been really holding a lot of elected officials' feet to the fire on Palestine, on civil rights, on economic justice. And it's great because there's a long history of D.C. activists driving elected officials crazy. This reminds me of when Ted Cruz was harassed at eating out in D.C. And I think, good. These people, they're driving the rest of the country crazy. They shouldn't be able to have a decent meal in D.C.
I agree. I think that people should harass their local representatives more often. Or else, they work for the people. Can we not forget that these representatives, senators, all the way to the president, they are elected to serve the people, not themselves.
And I must know, one thing I really like about Code Pink, is they very much annoy, mess up a politician's day. They don't shoot anyone. And I do think that is something to also remember, that you can do very aggressive, disobedient, even quite frankly, unlawful actions, and you don't necessarily have to kill anyone.
Also, when it's crime-free, it's also economy-free, because apparently DC is now on lockdown and people don't want to go out. And kudos to the grand jury members who refused to true bill any of those indictments about throwing a sandwich at National Guard.
But that's been the most fascinating thing, is that we're seeing grand juries specifically are getting less willing to indict people, and media outlets are starting to say, the last time we saw something like this was the lead up to the Revolutionary War, and that's sort of like, it's a big red flag for where our country's headed. I'm not saying that juries should start going with Trump's nonsense. I'm saying the government is acting in ways that is nonsense.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's sort of unrelated but related. I mean, locally we have Lauderdale by the Sea Entertaining naming a street after Trump, and he's still here.
I thought it was voted down 3-2.
Maybe it was. Unless there was a change or development.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Bobby here, and let's queer up the USA view. Oregon lawmaker leaves GOP because of gay son, joins Democrats. An Oregon state representative is making headlines after announcing he is leaving the Republican Party and seeking re-election as a Democrat, citing his gay son and conservative attacks on LGBTQ books as reasons for the switch. Representative Cyrus Shavati, who serves Oregon's 32nd district, announced on his Substack page. His decision shifts the balance in the Oregon House to 37 Democrats out of 60 seats. Shavati said his move was about cutting through partisan BS and focus on governing. He wrote, quote, "I know many Republicans who still share my values, but the party apparatus is headed somewhere else entirely. It's not about governing, it's about burning things down. It's about isolating minority communities when it's politically convenient," end quote. Shavati pointed to Republican rejections of his proposals on children's Medicaid benefits and rural hospital funding, not because the policies were flawed, he said, but because helping him didn't fit the GOP's agenda. He also criticized Republican culture war battles, especially book bans in schools. He wrote, quote, "If outrage were a renewable resource, Oregon would power the grid with Republican Facebook comments alone," end quote. On the so-called book ban, Shavati said, quote, "The real issue was whether kids, gay kids like my son, Black kids, Muslim kids, could still find stories on the shelves that reflect their lives," end quote. For Shavati, the shift is about protecting free speech, minority rights, and practical governance. He concludes the post saying, quote, "Yes, I'm switching to the Democratic Party, not because Democrats are perfect, but they are acting like a governing party," end quote. No political party is perfect, and yes, that's true. The question is one party better than the other? And that becomes obvious when you really think about it. Alex will probably disagree with me on some of the issues here, but right now the Republicans are not really governing. They just want to post propaganda slogans onto their page, trigger outrage, and I mean, what's bad? What is bad about funding children's Medicare and rural hospitals? The rural area hospitals have been shutting down, collapsing really, after Trump has decided to remove millions of Medicare and, funnel that money straight to Elon Musk and, Jeff Bezos' pocket.
But, kudos to him for standing up for his family versus, his career. And many people don't do it nowadays. And, he is right. Kids need stories that relate to them. And we're taking those away, and that makes them feel isolated, and that leads to, teen suicide and everything else. But this gentleman did the right thing for his family and also, for the state.
It's refreshing to see transparency like that.
Yes.
That he's really there for the job to be done and not there just to self-promote or profit.
I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of party switchers. Even when they help, don't get me wrong, party switchers have helped the Democrats more than once. Remember, we got a 60 majority in 2009, but there's also a little bit of not necessarily giving the voters what they wanted. We had a person, an elected official down here, switch from the Dems to the Republicans. None of us were wild about it. That being said, my fear for him is he wanted to like do these basic governing things. There's no promise the Democrats are going to do it because they're going to be like, well, that might mean raising taxes on our friends that give us money. Hopefully the Democrats will act better. I'm not saying the two parties are the same. Like, as Lewis Black would say, there's one party of bad ideas and a party of no ideas. And I sometimes, unfortunately, feel like we're in that realm. But, like, if the Oregon Democrats want to actually, like, give kids Medicaid, like, awesome. They should do it. Like, let's do it, people.
Yeah, I mean, to the point, I mean, look, I think Mr. Havarti did the right thing, especially since, his Republican colleagues are probably going to try to put his gay son in conversion therapy.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing where, like, with a lot of Republicans, they don't care about it until it affects them personally. And that's another thing that I'm always suspicious of.
I think that's both parties, though. I mean...
But he didn't try to keep it hushed either with his son. He protected his son, and I think that's important as a father, especially.
I feel you, but they were like, Obama didn't come out for gay marriage because one of his daughters was gay all of a sudden.
True.
So.
True. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these type of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Bobby Hune, and on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Alex Morash, Larry Farver, and Will Haas. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. to our LGBTQ world. We hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer. Good night.
Night.